So first you're going to need, for this first portion, you're going to need this. You're going to need the X-Plane Data Ref Editor, which you can get from, this isn't the real good one. You go to Squawk Boxes, this one here, and you're going to want to get this data ref folder right here, and just click on this and download it. And then once you've downloaded it, you can just grab it and place it in your X-Plane 10 folder, which is, just go to Resources, Plugins, and there's mine. So you just want to plug that in. That's for the first part. The second part, you're going to want to download a Fly with Lua, and depending on whether you're using X-Plane 10 or X-Plane 11, you're going to want to go to xplane.org, or you can just search, Google Fly with Lua. And if you're using X-Plane 10, you want this version, 2.4.4 beta. And then if you're using X-Plane 11, you want the 2.5 version of Fly with Lua. So depending on which version you want 2.4.4 with X-Plane 10, you want 2.5 with X-Plane 11. So, and they have a link for both of them. So if you look down here, here's the link for Fly with Lua for X-Plane 11. And this is the Fly with Lua for X-Plane 10. And I'll be using X-Plane 10, and most of all the data refs for X-Plane 10 and X-Plane 11 are basically the same. There's a few more things that X-Plane 11 offers that X-Plane 10 doesn't have, but X-Plane 10 is what I'm using. So next you're going to need some kind of text editor. I use this for everything because I just don't do Lua scripts. I do actually HTML, PHP, stuff like that. And this is what I use. So those are the three things you're going to need. You're going to need a data ref editor. You're going to need the Fly with Lua plugin. And Fly with Lua, you install it the same way. So you just extract it into your plugins folder. So you're going to have Fly with Lua here. Then you have your data ref folder, so you can edit the data refs live. And then you're going to need some kind of text editor, which is, I'm using Atom, which is what I use on a daily basis. So let's go ahead and get started. One of the things that you can do with Lua is you can set certain environment variables every time you start the game, so, or start the sim. So as you see now, this is X-Plane 10 default scenery. The only thing that's not default about it is these little buildings right here, which are provided by World to X-Plane, which I also have loaded. I'm not going to load that. That's too many scripts. So if you look up here, you can see the clouds. If you go up, and you look, there's really no shadowing at all. And we want to change that. And we've actually, hold on. Let's change our weather a little bit so you can see it a little bit. Let's just say, there, scattered. And there. So you see very little shadowing. And you have some clouds here. So we want to change that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here, go to Plugins, and here's our data ref editor. We want to go in, select Show Art Controls. Okay. The first thing I'm going to target the shadow ratio. So just say cloud and just shadow. So if you click down here in the bottom part of the window, you can just search, so cloud shadow, and it's already up here. And we are going to change this to, I want to change it to 0.88. And there. Okay, so now you see it's gotten much darker. And if you look out here on the horizon where there's no clouds, there's no shadow. So immediately you've fixed the shadow problem in X-Plane 10. So you can see the shadow where the clouds are. Here's the clouds. And you can see the outline of that cloud right there, the shadow outline. So that's number one. So that fixes the shadow problem for your clouds. Look straight around. So if we change the weather again, we'll just leave the weather like this. So yeah, so we have shadows, we have lighter areas where there's no clouds. So remember that. So what we're going to want to do now is If you have a piece of paper or a notebook, I keep a notebook with me all the time, even when I'm flying, just to make notes and stuff like that. So we know that we want to keep clouds shadow lighten ratio equal to 0.88. So write that down somewhere because you're going to need it later. Because this is what we're going to plug into our Lua script. Is we're going to set the value of this cloud shadow lighten ratio. We're going to set that value in Lua programmatically. Sorry, and we're going to set that to 0.88. Okay, so we have the cloud ratio down. Now we want to mess around with the atmosphere and actually how the sky looks. Now this is I'm using HD Clouds version 2 and real sky colors, so yours might look different than mine does already. These are all the HD Clouds. These colors are real sky colors. All of that's free. I've done videos on them. So let's change the Atmos scale, Raleigh, whatever Raleigh means. I have no idea what it means. But we want to change that, and you'll see what it does in a second. So if I go to Data Ref Editors, go Show Art Controls, I'm just going to type in Atmo. Sorry, wrong button here. We're going to go down here, switch to this, type in Atmo. Now I don't know why hold on, let me close this. Okay, open Data Ref back up, Data Ref Editor, Show Art Controls. We're going to go into Atmo, and we're going to check this. So it's currently set at 13. Watch what happens if I change it. So if I change it to like 5, watch the horizon. You see how much the scattering changed? So if I go up to, let's go up to 10. You see how much that's changed. So you can play around with this and get this the way you want it. I'm going to set mine for 25 and see what you guys think. So here's 2.5. Maybe it's a little much. I have no clue. Let me think about that for a second. Do I want it 25? What's better? What if we go to 15 or 20? What's 20 give us? 20 gives us that. Let's see. This is really all just trial and error because I'd never flown a plane, so I don't know what the sky actually looks like when you're in the air. So 20, 15. I want to get up higher a little bit and look around. Because here, I'll check with this airport because it's closer to the mountains. I had written down earlier like 25, so. My dog is aggravating the hell out of me. I'll just keep it at 2.5 because it's also what I was testing earlier. So if you want to change yours, you can go ahead and change yours to 2.5. Just make sure you write down Atmos scale Raleigh, then your value. That way you have it later when we add it into the script. Okay, next thing we're going to check, we're going to change this N-scatter gain me, which I have no idea what me is, but whatever. So I'm going to set mine to, first let's go to 5 and see what it does. So see, it's adding that kind of atmospheric fog at distance. So I'm just going to change mine to 2.5 and I'm going to leave that there. Now this N-scatter gain Raleigh for atmosphere, I'm going to change this to 4.5. 4.5 because I've played with this earlier. And you can feel free to play with it as much as you wish. And that might be a little much, I think. Let me try. Let's try a different value. What happens if I turn to 3? 3, 2. I'll leave it 2 because I kind of like 2. Okay, so this Atmoscale Raleigh, these are your color filters. So you have blue, green, red. So for blue, I'm going to change mine to, it's currently 19, I'm going to change mine to 15. That didn't make much of a difference. For green, I'm just going to change it to 9. I'm just going to make these whole numbers. So 9, and this one's going to be 6. I'm just going to round up to 6, so 6. Okay, so we can close this now and have a look at what we have here. So we've changed the color of the blue, we've changed the color of the red, and we've changed the color of the green for the atmosphere. We haven't really touched the clouds or anything like that. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and write our Lua script, because see what's going to happen is when we close the sim down and we restart the sim, you're going to lose your values. So in order to keep those values, we need to put it in a script and then load that script through Fly with Lua every time the simulator starts. So that's what we're going to do now. And I'm just going to pull this over. I'm going to leave this running in the background, and I'm just going to pull over a text editor. So here's my text editor, and I already have the Fly with Lua scripts folder open in my text editor, and I'm just going to hit new file, and it's going to come up, and I'm going to tell it enviro.lua. So enviro, I typed that wrong. Rename. And it's not enviro. So here's enviro.lua. So first thing we'll do, the set command in Lua is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's set. And we're going to give it a parameter. So in parameters, our parameters are going to be within inside this parentheses, which is what it's actually this parentheses means. You're going to pass it some values. So our first value is actually going to be, you're passing it parameters basically. If you've ever written code before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So inside the parentheses, we want to grab the value that we want the command. So when we did not the command but the setting, and then then afterwards we're going to change the value of that setting, or set the value of that setting. So the value that we want to grab first is we're going to grab, first we're going to start off with sim private controls. So sim private controls. Okay, now the first one we're going to set is we're going to set cloud shadow, the latent ratio that we changed in the game. We're going to change it here. So that's why I said to write this stuff down. So we're going to say it's clouds. So clouds / cloud shadow something. I'm looking at it. So cloud shadow lighten and ratio. It's kind of long, so cloud shadow lighten ratio. We want to go ahead, go outside the parentheses, and now you're going to set the value. So we set the value at 0.88. So we're going to say this 0.88. Okay, now we're done. So that has now set the cloud shadow ratio that we wanted. So now we have actual real shadows on the ground, as you saw earlier. So now that every time we start the game, this is going to set that automatically. We don't have to go back into the data ref and change that manually. This is going to save it and set it every time we start the simulator up. Okay, so the next values are, we're just going to grab this right here and, well, just make a template. So we're just going to say set parentheses sim private controls excuse me, sim private controls, and we're going to set, just do this, and then we're just going to copy it. What do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to copy this 6 times, so we don't have to keep. Actually, let's go ahead and add the Atmo too, because these are all going to be Atmo. So let's just copy this 6 times. So just copy and just enter, Control V, enter, Control V, enter, Control V, until you have 6 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thanks enough. Yep. So anyways, so the first one we're going to do is that nscatter gain me, the one with the funny little word on it. So we're going to just type nscatter gain me, and then we're going to set its value to, what do we have its value set? I'm just going to set it to 2.5, which is what I have written down from my previous tests. So that's going to set to 2.5. Next we're going to set the, actually I forgot to set the scale Raleigh, so we can do that now. So we're going to say Atmo scale Raleigh, spelt it wrong, it's E-I-G-H. Atmo scale Raleigh, we're going to set that to 2.5. And you would set it to whatever you wanted to set it. I mean, these are just my personal settings. You could set it to anything you want to, but this is how you're going to save it and then load it every single time. If you notice, we already have it sitting in the scripts folder. So once we save this, it's already going to be there, and all we have to do is start X-playing up, and it'll be there. Okay, so we did the me. Now we need to set the gain, the Raleigh gain. So we're going to say nscatter. So this is how it scatters the light. Nscatter, what do I say? Gain Raleigh. So gain Raleigh. And we're going to set that to, people message me on here. People message me on here all the time. What was I looking at here? It is, nscatter gain Raleigh is going to be, for me, it's going to be 4.5. So 4.5. Now we have those 3 done. Now we need to set our color. So those blue, green, and red colors that we did earlier, this is where we're going to put those in it. So we're just going to scatter the blue light, so scatter gain, or actually scatter Raleigh. The blue light. And we're going to set that at 15. Next I'm going to come on down here and set the green. So here's scatter Raleigh green. And we want to set that to 9. So 9. And next is scatter Raleigh blue, red. So Raleigh then red. I'm going to set that to 6. So now I want to just make a quick check over here. So some private controls. These were all Atmo, yes. This was clouds. Cloud shadow lighting ratio to 0.88. And that's good. So right now I'm just going to hit Control S to save it, save the script. And now I'm going to shut down Explain. So just shut it down real quick. I'm going to shut it down and then I'm going to start it back up. So we're just going to wait here and see how long it takes to start up. And I'm already recording it or live streaming it, so I don't know why that window popped up. You should already know. So we're going to start here with Cessna. We're going to go back to Culpeper Regional. We were, and just hit fly. And now it's going to take forever to start up because I have all the add-ons. So I'm going to mute this mic and just wait. It's loading a lot of files because it's loading all the world to X-plane scenery, which are basically just 3D buildings. And then the script we just wrote really isn't going to attack or hurt your frames per second because we're just setting values. So once we have this set, we can go in and we can fiddle around with a few more settings. But basically what we've done is, the edits we've made are done, because now with the script saved in our Fly with Lua scripts folder, it's going to load that script every time Fly with Lua loads. And you'll see that in a second once it loads. I shouldn't have put all these load. I should have told it to load like 8 aircraft, because now that's what it's doing. There we go. So now you can obviously see it's kind of darker. And if we go back outside the plane and we go up here and look, it should show us our shadows. Actually, it's not going to show us our shadows because this is the real world weather, I think. So let's change the weather to few cumulus. And there you go. So there's your shadows. Let's change it back to something else. So let's go to environment, weather, and change it to cumulus scattered. So there you have the shadows here from this cloud. Now there's some other things we can do. We can change things like what can we change? We can change, look here. Let's first we can change how these clouds actually are drawn. So let's go ahead and change that. So let's go into data res, show our controls, and let's go to, so we can set first res first res 3D. So first, and there's first res 3D right there. So right now it's currently set to 0. So let's go up through the settings and see what we like. So let's go to 1. That really doesn't change. No, we'll 1 and hit enter. So 1, enter. That really didn't change anything. Let's go to 2. That really didn't change anything. Let's go to 3. That changed a little bit. Let's go to 4. That's kind of weird looking. It kind of looks like that tower is building on that cloud right there. And I don't know if going 5 is going to make a difference. Because see, now it's just weird looking. I'm going to set mine to 3. So can you go up in tenths? So 3.5 or 3.5? 3.5 does nothing. It takes all every single cloud away. So evidently you can't only use whole numbers. So let's go. This is 4. I really don't like this. Well, let's change the weather a little bit. Environment, weather, cumulus scattered, cumulus broken. Let's see what that does. Worse. No, I don't like that at all. I mean, you guys might like that, but I don't like that. I don't like it at all. So let's change it to 3. And 3 does absolutely nothing. So that's crazy. And then if we hit 0, what does it do? These are scattered clouds. Supposedly set scattered. So weather. They are broken. Let's go overcast, see what happens. Overcast. Okay, so here's overcast, which is what it is currently here now. If I set this to 3. Okay, that's weird. And the game kind of just froze up. There we go. 4. I think I'll keep 4 and just deal with it later. So, what's something else we could set? We can set the shadow size, and that's going to be multiple. So I think it's set basically for I think it's set to 512. Yeah, it's set to 512 here. And I haven't really noticed a difference in doing this. So some people, if your graphics card can handle it, go to 1024. So you want multiples of 512. So 2 times 512 is 1024. So hit that. That really didn't make a difference for me at all. We can also go in and change it to 2048. So I'll just leave mine at that. I haven't been writing these down because I'm not going to really say these. I want to fiddle with these myself a little more later. And we can also set the max no, plot radius. The plot radius is something pretty cool we can set. Let's go back and look at that. So if we go to plot radius and actually type something in instead of looking at it. So plot radius is already set to 1. Let's set the plot radius to something else. Let's set it to, first let's see what happens if you hit 2. Okay, that's kind of crazy. So it kind of made our clouds a lot more puffy. Let's go to can I go to 3? What does that do? So that's really, really puffy. Oh, you can do halves, so you can do tenths on this one. So let's leave it at that. Yeah. We can set ambient gain and specular gain, I think. I think you can set spec in here. Maybe you can only do that for X-Plane 11. Let's look. So we're just going to go clouds, and we're going to set, first we're going to try ambient. So ambient, cloud gain, set that to 2 and see what happens. Ooh, that's kind of weird. Kind of like 1 better. I don't know, maybe, oh. I have to look at that. I mean, it kind of looks cool. From a distance, I mean, I don't know how, if it's completely overcast. Let's change the weather to something else. So environment weather. Let's change it to scattered. See what that does for us. So scattered. I just don't like the way these clouds look when they're like this, but there's our shadowing. But like I said, these settings are up to you. And then the way we would set it is you would go back into your this file and you would set, let's just set the plot radius. So let's we should still have this in there. Yep. So we want to set the plot radius, so but it's clouds, so it's a cloud, so clouds. Let's change the plot radius. I'm going to change it to what I say, what we have, 1.5, I think it's 1.5. So yeah, and we go ahead and control and save that, and when we start the sim back up, it'll have that value. So I hope you've enjoyed this short tutorial on how to write scripts for environmental scripts, and these scripts will work the same for other scripts too. And these scripts will all work for, this will work for X-Plane 11 just like it works for X-Plane 10. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them, and thanks for watching.